Hi guys, welcome back to Clockwork and Noodles, the channel where Becca continues to break down this amazingly jam-packed season. We are slowly approaching the end though. Very shortly we will be having my spring 2021 wrap-up episode. It will be the big episode where I tell you the anime I plan to watch in my spare time, which 4 anime will be broken down on the channel next season, and my top 3 anime of this period. And I will include a honourable mention because I think there is going to be one. Make sure you are subscribed because that very shortly will be going your way. I have got about half of the video sketched up. I roughly know exactly what I'm watching and what I plan to be breaking down. I just can't decide on my top 3 yet. Everything is all to play for right now. We've got 3 episodes left of Vivy. A lot of the animes are now starting to close up. It's going to be very interesting to see when I just finally make that call and put it into words and record it as it is. So join me as I decide what my top 3 anime of the season were. There is also a great way of making sure that you never miss a video. That is the Discord channel. You get notified whenever videos go up. I do notice that YouTube isn't the greatest at times for notifying you. Let's talk about episode 10 because my big gut instinct, which has been playing up for the last few episodes, was right. Let's discuss it as we go through it because there's a lot of little tiny details going on in what seemed like initially a quiet episode. But of course, I've got to hand it to Whip. They definitely know how to do a twist. And this is definitely going to be that twist that I think a few of us were predicting would occur. So Vivy is finally our museum exhibit. We knew it was going to end up like this, but it seems that it ended up being on her own will in a sense. She couldn't sing anymore. She lost the ability to do the one thing that was her model's mission. So she ended up retiring her own self and becoming nothing more than just an exhibit. And I think it's even more painful to know that it's not like Antonio, who was completely shut off. His body was just there as a exhibit, not conscious. Vivy is fully conscious the entire time. She gets to experience the passing of life day in, day out, never ending in that one spot, never really being able to get up and exercise or do really anything. It seems like a very boring life that she has resigned herself to. Where we meet, of course, somebody I knew was going to be very important straight away, Asamu. And calling him Asamu was very, very clever because this is obviously a nickname that the teacher has given him. But we end up thinking, oh yeah, this is his name. Trying to avoid what we're actually calling him, which is Masamoto. Of course it's the professor, it has to be. We needed a point for him to meet her because I didn't think he just chose Vivy because she happened to be there. I believe there had to be a link between the two to make him go, oh, I'm dying. The last person I'm thinking about is giving this mission to Vivy. There has to be a reason why he would leave such an important task with a random AI. I'm very happy that we actually addressed this. When we first join Vivy in the museum, it has been 5 years since the concert, so not too much time has passed. But when the Virus Cube obviously meets Vivy again for the first time in what seems like 45 years because he hung out of Diva, it really does feel like we've come a long way. This anime feels like it's covered a lot of ground. It feels like a very long time since we woke up on year 1 and we had to jump from a building in the moonlight. Feels like a very long time. The Singularity Project right now having no events. This is it. You've done. Why hasn't Masamoto gone back to sleep or anything? I love how dedicated she has become to the project. The Singularity Project really is the only mission she's now got. She's lost one mission and this is all she's got. Or maybe it's the fact that she maybe is becoming a bit bored. Maybe she's hoping to find something to distract herself from. Maybe this is just procrastination. She definitely seems to procrastinate a little bit in the sense that she's trying to avoid confronting writing or confront the idea of singing. Vivy has lost her way. She's lost the ability to sing. So I did say last week, we failed. We 100% failed to prevent the suicide of Ophelia. And yes, she died in a very different manner. However, the aftermath is the same. So we were supposed to prevent just her killing herself, which would then start a movement about the idea of free will in an AI. However, the double suicide, as I mentioned last week, it actually has a bit of a bigger impact. Perhaps 2 androids were in love, perhaps they had souls, and this is what we see starting to do the rounds. We definitely failed at this singularity point. However, it's a bit ambiguous. We don't know if just hitting one halfway or just missing one of those singularity points is detrimental to the whole plan. We're looking at things like the butterfly effect here, whether one tiny little event really does have a big mega wave on the other side. So maybe just missing the suicide really did trigger it. However, we haven't fully got answers 100% yet. We've got a few inklings at the end of the episode in our big pivotal scene, but we still don't have full answers. Kakutani's words end up haunting the virus cube. The idea of a revelation from where? What is this revelation? Which I think we might get a bit of closure on at the end. It's an episode which, as much as it seems to feel like it's distracting us from what's actually about to occur, and it's a quiet patch before things go manic, it's also a chance to see the development. We've gone a very long way. The cube is now very concerned about something else, which he's not telling us initially, but I had a feeling it might have been what I was thinking. But he's still awake, and we've also got 3 episodes to go. It was a bit of a calm before the storm. We find out it's been 65 long years, 35 now to the war. And what a journey it has been. 35 years to the war, and yes, something else I predicted, the war ends up happening quicker. Well, we finally get Vivy being curious about her own maker. And what is very interesting is Phoebes Maker was a female developer who was actually trying to work out what is heart herself. It was something that she even wasn't sure of the answers. But it's a bit of a philosophical quest, the idea to wonder what is a heart. The developer not even bothered that she may end up using her heart to hate her. This question being something which seems very pivotal to both a human and maybe even an AI. Osamu's starting to make more and more of an appearance, which is definitely giving you those flags that he's definitely a very important character, especially now that we're entering the final passage before the war hits us. I think it's his way of trying to spur her into trying to sing and maybe trying to do something for her, but we end up seeing a bit of a friendly rivalry, which, if anything, Vivy does this more to help him. So the friendly rivalry is you make friends, I'll maybe try and work out how to sing, more for his sake. I think Vivy understands that this question might take her a very long time. She wants to ensure that Osamu ends up happy, even if she's not even realising that she's still trying to fulfil a mission here of making Osamu happy, seeing him happy, by going, okay, I will try singing, I'll try and work this out if you can make some friends. This then allowing him to even change around his life. We may even get to see the butterfly effect right here in action because of where it leads, the passage of time. Vivy tells us that no AI has ever written a song by heart, which seems to be a bit of a key of change. This moment of perhaps she's starting to think of a way forward, if anything, a bit of forward momentum going on. But the slump this episode I find very relatable because I am currently going through my own personal slump. I'm not going to go into too many details, but I really do feel her. The ability to probably do anything you really want, to do many things, but you're unable to do anything. And it's something that is very difficult to explain to somebody where you might be like, well, why can't you just do it? It's difficult. It's really difficult from a creative standpoint to sometimes do anything when you can't do anything, and you create your own invisible walls around you. This episode hit me in a very, very deep way because I'm going through very similar things. I really hope my slump doesn't last 20 years, but I am currently going through a 3-year slump. I haven't broken 3 years just yet. Maybe one day I'll also be able to find myself, like Vivy, overcoming this slump and actually doing what it is I'm hoping to achieve. But the archive pose, Vivy just simply in peace, looking quite happy, her actually visiting the archive at the same time. It's the pose we see initially when she was selected for the Singularity Project, so everything's meant to start feeling very similar to us as we start looking at things and going, oh wait, this looks familiar. And it's also building a bit of anxiety because we're like, wait, is this going? How are we going to end? Is this going to end up where we think it's going to end? Because we hope that it's not going to end where it ends, and we're almost hoping, has something changed? What has changed? Have we managed to change even anything? We start to see the slump really in action. It's been a whole year and she's only really managed a few bars of music. I do think some of the problem is the fact that she's really overthinking. She's not actually just letting it flow, letting it go. She's over-analysing everything. Who's it for? Why am I writing this song? What's its purpose? Sometimes you just write because you need to write. You don't have a reason to write. It's an episode that really shows us the passage of time. And this whole anime has been all about time. Time is a very important theme amongst the anime in general. We get to see a quiet episode after the action of last week and of course before the build of next week. But we also get to see Osamu being used to show us the passage of time. The metronome also showing us time is steadily moving forward. It's never ending. It keeps ticking by regardless. Even if Vivy is slumped and the world is leaving her behind, time still continues to tick. I did start to question the idea that maybe Vivy would never be able to die, in a sense, unless she one day maybe found herself unable to power up properly. Maybe one day she'll be unable to charge. It's a scary thought, the fact that she may never be able to cease to stop thinking. Osamu ends up winning the race and bringing his friends to the museum as promised, ending up winning the race and ending this sequence of rivalry going on. Again, this is all part of what I think Vivy knew she was doing. She knew that it would take a while to find her answers, but she wanted Osamu to grow up, to become a bit more sociable, to start his life and stop hiding himself away from everybody, because he doesn't really seem too interested in people initially. But Osamu's starting to look very, very suspicious. As we start to see, he takes a very big interest in science. Of course, his interactions with Vivy, I believe that this would also spur him to be more interested in science, because he seems very, very interested in her as a AI, how important she is as an AI, and he even says that the sin really is that people his age don't know about her, similar to, I guess, our own age not understanding things like the first ever computer being as big as an entire room. And that's initially when I went, this is the professor. This is 100% the professor. Seeing this started to maybe think, why was Vivy picked in the first place? I think it's because Masamoto actually knew that she had lost her way. She had lost her ability to reason, do her own mission. And he was trying to help her, as well as the fact that he really did think that she was capable enough to find an answer and fulfill the mission and save the human race. He definitely has spent a fair bit of time with her. He definitely would be able to gauge that she might be the perfect person for this role, to be able to find herself along the way and save the world. It's also quite nice that we get this link. This link really gives us a bit more of a personal touch, the fact that the two know each other. It's not just simply a random choice. And that's something that we see a lot in this anime too. The idea of coincidence never really existing. There's no such thing as a coincidence. The passage of time keeps on. Onwards we go, further forward, getting towards that final end date, 35 years, really starting to slide on by. Vivy's progress is very, very slow, and it's just sadly relatable. I really feel this episode. It made me feel quite sad because I'm not really making any progress either. That Osamu ended up married. This actually showing us that Vivy really did aid his life, if anything. He had a hand in getting him onto the right path, helping him become sociable, helping him actually maybe finding somebody, having that experience within the social realm to maybe even breach things like marriage and relationships and closer bonds. It's very nice just to see that little butterfly effect and how she's having an impact even if she's unable to move or even leave the space. We do see a bit further forward that Vivy really could leave whenever she really wanted. She turns down the barrier to hold Luna, where we are told again of the tragedies of life. Osamu ends up losing his wife, but this starts to trigger our inevitable spark, the spark that actually gets Vivy on the right track. Asking why Luna, even Nana as well, were able to laugh, smile, knowing that their end would come. Memento mori type thing. All humans do die. It is inevitable. The passage of time is cruel and nobody is really immortal. Maybe AIs are, however humans are not. It sparks something within her, and this is what eventually ends her slump. The idea of the fragility of life and life really being something so precious. The orchestra warming up as Vivy finally hits the database properly. It is such a nice little moment because the orchestra warming up means Vivy's ready to start again. Vivy is ready to start and begin something new. Whenever you hear the orchestra, you know you're in for a treat. Something is about to play. Something is about to unfold before you. The stopping of the metronome feels very poignant. Over all these years, it's just been ticking and she's been focused on the ticking. She finally understands and she stops it. She doesn't need to hear the time ticking by. She needs to enjoy the moment, go with the moment. This is progress. This is many, many years of progress. Her song is influenced by the entire journey. The journey we as an audience have sat through and watched. The people she has met, the things she has done, the good, the bad, the negative, the positive. All of the people along the way, the experiences that she's gone through. It feels like a bit of a wrap-up episode. And if you were to give me this at the very end, I would have probably accepted it as a wrap-up of the final series. However, there's 3 episodes left and we have got something very pressing coming our way that isn't over. Is a nice episode. It reviews the journey that we've done. And it's the Singularity Project that has once actually allowed her to write from the heart. One project has influenced another project. Her mission to sing from the heart. The Singularity Project has also allowed us to do this. It's also really nice to see that the Virus Cube never left her side. He's always there, even if he was popping up during the slump moments. So whoever ended up giving her the initial mission, which is Masamoto, he actually allowed her to find her way, which is what made me think it was a Samu. It definitely was, because he said, I wish I could do something for you. She says it's a song for Diva, or aka herself. She's writing a song for herself, because Diva really was a part of herself. She ends up writing it all in one go, which really is just a typical way of coming out of a slump. You could take years to write a single passage, and then suddenly you're in that path, you're in the moment, you write the entire song. It's taken 20 long years. There are now 15 years to where the war initially would have been. This has definitely sped up a bit. The events definitely sped up at this point. Virus Cube. I love him. At the end of the day, his actual mission, his promise was to Vivy. He was waiting to see her fulfill her mission. He didn't get to hear her sing it, however, so he did say, maybe I'll meet you one day again in the future. But that is when he vanishes. It seems like that might be the final meeting for him. We might not see him for a while. However, things may change with the next episode. And the Masamoto Osamu confirmation link right at the end, I called it. I called it right away, and I figured that this episode would be there important, even though it would seem like a slump moment and it might seem that we're kind of just padding it out. It was important padding because it all had a purpose. It all wanted to show us the link between Masamoto and Vivy. Hear the song played once more because it's actually the end credits. The end credits are Vivy's song. I love the fact that she's actually writing something. I did wonder if she would write maybe As You Like My Pleasure in instrumental form, but it's not that. The end credit doesn't actually have any lyrics to it. It is just a piano piece that plays us out to a nice sequence of dominoes, which I think is quite ironic in a sense that it took her a very long time, and then initially right at the end it took that one push of the metronome and all of the dominoes came crashing down. I like this little link. However, it's game over. It's 100% game over, and I did wonder if everything we had done up to this point was just really enough. We didn't really seem to find the root cause of the war. It is the end. We come back at the beginning. We have come full circle. We have failed. However, something very interesting this time. Everybody is singing. Absolutely everybody is singing Vivy's song. They're just humming the final few chords, the few bars of her song. And this is what starts to raise those questions. Now that we've failed, how are we going to move forward? What's going to happen? Everybody's dead. So Vivy has got to call on Masamoto. Maybe she'll be able to find a way of sending herself back with the knowledge. Perhaps she's really going to have to dig around and find out what caused the war, because there has to be a reason why all these free-thinking AI, or it seems like they're almost virus hack. The little icon on the neck is red. It seems like they are all singing her song for a reason, and this can't be a coincidence. This anime has told us nothing's a coincidence. So what is causing it? What did Kakutani mean when he had a revelation? There are so many questions now that this episode has opened up. We've got 3 episodes. Are we going to be able to satisfyingly end this anime with a very good ending, which is going to make us all feel like we've hit all the bars, all the questions wrapped up? Are we going to be able to tie it all up in a very satisfying knot and go, yes, I fully understand what you have achieved and I love the ending? Very interested to see where we're going. I figured that we'd end bad. I did think it was going to end bad. I didn't think we were doing enough. I didn't think we'd actually found out what initially caused the war, what actually triggered it initially. Simply saying that these are things that might trigger the war and these seem like important points, I don't think we were also doing enough, because going in and just stopping one event doesn't initially stop the momentum. As I've been saying throughout the entire breakdown, if something is bound to happen, it will happen, and it will find a different way of occurring. You just might delay it. If anything, we seem to have actually brought about these events 15 years too early. So what are we going to be able to do about this now? Are we going to be able to fix anything? And it also does raise the question, was the entire Singularity Project this time round, even though we've brought on the war and we've failed and it's 15 years early, did we actually achieve anything? Because it feels like we didn't. Going to be very interesting. I know Vivy has now awakened and she's found her purpose. She's found out what it means to write with her heart. So maybe this knowledge is going to be able to help her figure out this big overarching problem now, which is the annihilation of all humans. I will see you guys again next week. I cannot wait to see where the anime is going. Stay safe, guys. Bye-bye.